Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to Xbox On. It's January, it's 2017, and sadly, there's not many games coming out.
Yeah, it's quiet days, but fear not, because there's something cool you can get involved with. With Game Preview, you can play some awesome games that are still in development right now. So here are 8 games you need to get your hands on.
Now, our next game finally answers an important question that we've been asking ourselves for years. Why did the dinosaurs go extinct? Now, a load of you have just jumped out of your chairs going, it was the meteor killed them all. Well, no, this game proves it was jerks like us stabbing them with spears and throwing poo at them. The appeal of Ark Survival Evolved is pretty simple. If the natural elements don't kill you, the dinosaurs will. You wake up on a beach with nothing but a pair of pants and an abnormally strong pair of fists. Seriously, these things can punch trees into handy wooden pieces. The aim is to gradually punch your way towards a more civilized life, developing clothes to keep you warm, a hut to keep you safe at night, and some weapons for fending off carnivores. At the start of the game, you're so weak that even the ankle-biting compies will give you trouble. But over time, you'll learn to not only fight off dinosaurs, but to tame those that you've subdued and use them for your own bidding. This could mean ordering a gang of Triceratops to do your fighting for you, or even better, hijacking a T-Rex as the world's deadliest horse. It'll take you a fair amount of playing before you're ready to ride those fantastic beasts, but it's well worth the effort. Oh yeah, and also the game allows you to play with poo. Dinosaur poop can be used as fertilizer, and if you're running low on the raw materials, you can choose to squeeze one out yourself. Just be careful when navigating the inventory afterwards, as we did manage to eat our own dump. I guess we're not as evolved as we hoped.
If, like us, you're still recovering from too much family time over Christmas, then might I suggest The Long Dark. It's a vast, snowy wilderness with no grandma to be seen for 100 miles. Sounds heavenly.
That said, after a few hours fighting against the bitter cold and an ever-rumbling stomach, it might be handy to have an elderly relative to gnaw on. You see, The Long Dark is all about surviving in a desolate wilderness. If you saw Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant last year, you'll have some idea of what to expect. You're constantly looking for shelter, fighting off the cold, and trying to avoid the wildlife that see you as a walking snack. And sorry, no, you don't get an Oscar at the end of it. It's a bit like a mean-spirited version of Firewatch, in that you're left by yourself in a huge natural environment. It has a similar sense of peace and solitude, at least when everything is going in your favour. Alas, the team behind the game are always adding new ways to screw you over, whether it's adding a mode where a murderous bear chases you down, or adding afflictions like cabin fever, which prevents you from resting indoors, or frostbite that permanently damages your hero. Ouch. At the moment, all this can be enjoyed in the vast sandbox mode, but there is a more focused episodic story mode on the way too. While you're waiting for that to arrive, why not see how long you can last in this frosty hell? Now, where did I leave Grandma?
When we saw a user review on the Xbox store calling Rivals of Aether Xbox's answer to Super Smash Bros., we just knew we had to give it a go. Now, if you've never played Smash Brothers, then the idea is pretty simple. Instead of hitting your enemies to eat away at their health bar, every hit instead raises their damage meter, making it easier to smash your opponent from the arena. It's a really fun take on the fighting genre, blending in elements of platforming as you try to get the drop on your rival, as well as allowing for tense comebacks as you try to reach solid ground after being thrown out of the arena. It is so much fun. And Rivals of Aether is a good recreation of that formula. If you've played Smash Brothers before, you'll be able to pick up the controls in an instant, but it isn't a straight clone. It removes the comedy items like the bob-omb to focus on technical fighting, using sharp but simple 2D sprites to make the action very easy to read. You can tell you're in a serious fighting game when even the beginner's tutorial brings up frame counting, which is the art of breaking moves into frames of animation to help improve your skills and make you the best player possible. And as a result, the community has gathered around the game and is already quite hardcore, but don't feel bad if you get your ass whooped in online rank matches. It's sometimes better to find a friend to humiliate in local multiplayer instead. Now, where's Lydia?
If there's one thing that scares us more than a dystopian society, it's creepy clown makeup. So that pretty much makes a dystopian society full of creepy clown makeup the worst thing ever.
The town of Wellington Wells in We Happy Few is unlike any we've visited before. The population are blissed out on joy pills, which helps gloss over some dark truths bubbling beneath the surface. We join our hero just as he goes off his meds and decides to escape the town. This means getting up to no good under the watchful eye of the local police, trying to balance his joy intake so he doesn't get identified as a downer, all whilst trying to avoid the negative effects of addiction. The town is procedurally generated afresh every time you die, so it's always a new challenge. But where this can sometimes make for slightly shapeless games, the team behind We Happy Few have included lots of scripted story beats to help give the game the feel of a more traditional FPS. With its focus on dated 1960s decorations and constant propaganda, it feels like a very British take on BioShock, especially in the scripted sequence that opens the game. Just before Christmas, the game benefited from the Clockwork update, which improved lots of the missions and added in a new tutorial area to teach you about crafting. So even if you dabbled with the game at launch, it's well worth making a return visit.
If you found yourself dunked into a vast ocean with absolutely nothing, you would think you're pretty much screwed, unless you're playing Subnautica, where it's the start to an amazing adventure. Well, I say awesome, but when the game opens and your spaceship crashes into the sea, things don't seem that fun. Your escape pod is on fire, your fellow crew are all gone, you're running low on rations, and there's a small matter of your main ship slowly leaking radiation into the surrounding ocean, and it's your job to sort this mess out. What makes Subnautica out from other survival games is the setting. That ocean may look gentle on the surface, but dive in and a whole new world is revealed. So yeah, it's another one of those survival games where you try to manage your hunger, thirst, and health as you collect the materials to build yourself a better world. But the underwater setting makes for a freaky playground full of weird alien fish and glowing plants. Okay, so most of this stuff is going to kill you, but it's at least going to be pretty while it kills you. If you want, you can turn off the survival elements entirely and simply explore the seabed as you build your escape pod into a bigger home. This is also one of the game preview titles that has seen the most updates, with new gadgets and deadlier creatures added over the last year. Get in on the action now and you can see the game grow before your eyes, just don't let that distract you from the sea beasts.
If, like me, you've pumped hundreds of hours into Stardew Valley, but wish you could use a giant vacuum gun to make the whole thing a little bit easier, then Slime Rancher might just be for you.
You play as a farmer in a strange alien world populated by bouncing balls of slime. They may look cute, but these little buggers are unfeeling killer machines, eating any vegetable or chicken that makes the mistake of getting too close to their big fat gobs. On the upside, when you feed a slime its favoured dish, they poop out diamonds. A get-rich-quick scheme if I ever saw one. It's your job to hoover up the slimes and build a farm where you can efficiently harvest their priceless crap. Lovely. It's much more chaotic than your usual farming simulator, with slimes crudely herded into electrified pens. Leave them too long with food and they get all uppity. It's not unusual to return from a long journey to find your farm overrun with escaped prisoners, greedily scoffing the fruit trees you so carefully planted. Even worse, allow slimes to start eating each other's poop and they begin to mutate into weird and wonderful hybrids, making management even harder. And really gross. It's a game packed with personality, from the way penned slimes hungrily eye up nearby food, to the simple pleasure of holding the right trigger to suck up a whole screen of squeaking beach balls. Where lots of game preview games can feel like slightly rough works in progress, this already feels like a really polished game. So why not give it a go? You'll have the slime of your life. God, who writes this stuff?
Now, Xbox Game Preview has got a pretty good track record when it comes to games in space. This is where the awesome Elite Dangerous first appeared, and now it's home to Everspace. Now, not that Rockfish Games' space shooter shares much DNA with Frontier's space simulator, where that game can sometimes feel like an intergalactic trucking simulator. Everspace is all about playing as a hotshot pilot. Each stage sees you warp into a battlefield where you weave around asteroid fields and mining facilities as you engage rival ships in thrilling dogfights. It's an awesome arcade shooter in its own right, reminding us a bit of a space version of Crimson Skies, but what makes the game really smart is the way it handles death. When your pilot dies, he is gone for good, forcing you to start with a new ship. Handily, the money you earned in your previous life can be used to purchase new upgrades, meaning your next ship will likely last a little longer. I love the way that each death allows you to push a little deeper into the game, making it a really fun, enjoyable experience. And if that doesn't appeal to you, you could always just boot it up to mess around with a cool photo mode. Freezing the action to line up that perfect shot of an exploding enemy is stupidly satisfying. In space, no one can hear you say cheese.
If Everspace has you hankering for the stars, but you'd rather a more relaxed adventure, might I recommend the colourful worlds of Astroneer.
There's very little in the way of burning space death in Astroneer. Instead, you're an astronaut plopped on the surface of a candy-coloured planet and left to build your humble arrival pod into a massive space empire. Feeding resources into the pod allows you to build new equipment, including handy networks of oxygen tubes that let you wander further afield. On paper, the idea of oxygen tethers may sound annoying, but it gives you a really good sense of just how far you've explored. Even better is the terraforming gun you're equipped with, letting you tunnel into the Earth or build up lumps to assist with exploration. Just messing around with a landscape feels like a pretty good game in itself, especially if you play online with a second player and dedicate your life to trying to bury them in a massive pit. More usefully, digging into the ground can reveal precious resources or uncover the remains of older equipment for you to pillage. With the lack of combat and dangerous beasts, it's a super chill take on survival, much more so than the likes of The Long Dark or Ark Survival Evolved, but it still has the adventurous drive from gradually navigating the planet's surface. We expect big things from Astroneer going forwards, so now's a great time to dive in.
So there we have it, guys. That's 8 game previews that you have to go give a try right now. Also, I have to say, Ark is one of my absolute favorites. It's all about the poo. It sounds really weird, all right? But like from my personal experience when we streamed it a while back, it was a lot of fun. I won't go too much into it. It's a bit messy.
Please don't.
But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let us know what you think in the comments below. And also, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future content.
And don't forget to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and check out another one of our list shows whilst you're at it. We will see you next time.
Bye.